everybody, and welcome to Phil's Corner, this slightly later slot than we're used to, but we are here for the Hot Wall on a Tuesday evening, so welcome. I'm sure many of us, well, I say us, I'm not, but I'm sure many of you are watching the Champions League. I haven't been watching tonight, keeping up to date with the scores, but yeah. For those who are maybe opening this on a second screen, I appreciate the effort. Brock says, hey Phil, hey Brock. Is $30 a good deal for a 2007 Sao Paulo Libertadores home shirt? Honestly, Brock, I can't think of what that looks like off the top of my head. That sounds like, $30 is a nice price, like typically for any shirt, so yeah, let's have a look. 2007 Sao Paulo Libertadores. Sao Paulo Libertadores shirt. I can't see a Libertadores. Is it got like a collar? Yeah, honestly, that seems, well, I mean, for $30 you can't go too wrong there. So yeah, very interesting. I like it. Is it Reebok there by the looks of things? So, very good. But yeah, hope you guys are well. Hope you are having a good week, having a good had a good Tuesday, I should say. Not having a good Tuesday, not got much of it left. But nonetheless, as I say, we're here to do the Hot Wall. I will give a couple of bits of housekeeping, as we usually do. Firstly, with a few of us here, if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel. A nice simple way to support the channel and what we're doing, of course, and no cost to yourself, so that's a great way to do it. And you can also leave a like if you enjoy the stream. That really helps bring people in, especially as we're doing this live. So if you enjoy this at any point, leave a like. And I have a Patreon, which you can check out in the description. There's loads of benefits there. Tyler, welcome Tyler. He says, Canadian here. Oh, and as if on cue, Tyler subscribes as well. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you so much. So Tyler says, Canadian here. Thoughts on Nike not releasing new kits for Canada? Yeah, I actually, Joshua Cloakey or Cloak, I don't know how you say his surname, but he from The Athletic over in Canada, he wrote an article on there, and he actually asked me a few questions about that as well for the article, so I shared a bit there. In short, it seems like it's a missed opportunity. I don't see any reason why it had to be like that, and I think clearly given the profile of having a Canadian team at the World Cup, which doesn't happen every time, hugely missed opportunity. And yeah, Nike, for all the stuff they've done well, a bit of some bad energy, some bad vibes going into the World Cup, certainly if you're Canadian. Tyler says, how's it going? Very well, thank you, Tyler. Hope you are too. Does your Fit Fanatics code only work on certain items? It should work on everything. It won't work if there's another code running. But yeah, so is it? I can't remember. Is it Phil 10 or Phil's 10? No, it's Phil 10, isn't it? I think. It's either Phil 10 or Phil's 10. Nah, it used to be one and it's the other. I think it's Phil 10. Yeah, do try that, Tyler, or do try those. If they don't work, I can certainly speak to my guys at Fit Fanatics. Yeah, because we should have a code there for 10% off. Okay, my week's the items discount. Yeah, I think it should still. I thought it used to still work, but maybe there's a threshold for it. But, and yeah, Tyler. So there's two Tylers here. I'll just say Tyler. Yeah, do check out the article. Yeah, there was some good stuff in there. Right, let us get to the Hot Wall itself, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to rank some shirts. All being well, we'll try and catch up as much as possible. If we don't catch up to the Corinthians shirt, I want to cover that tonight, so we'll do that. I teased it a bit on on my Twitter today. I don't actually think it's as good as lots of people are saying it is, but well, I like it, but we'll come into it anyway. So let's get on to our let's get to the screen. So guys, you can see here, this is the whole wall. I don't need to tell you about that. We've been doing this for several months, but basically my favourite shirt's on the right, my least favourite shirt's on the left. I will be, and I've been promising this, I think it might end up being in November, or maybe in December. We'll do a bit of a review of this, and there's a few shirts which I'd like to bump up, and conversely shirts which I think probably could go further down in hindsight, because we've covered so many shirts that you end up seeing or your opinions I think do change sometimes in the context of other releases. But yeah, this is the wall, and there's been a lot of shirts, heck of a lot of shirts. Not many in this top tier though, so that's what we're looking for today. A few more to stick there. I believe we ended the stream last week with the, what's that one there? That's the Denmark shirts. I forgot to do my usual trick of highlighting the last layer. Again, this is just a absolute mess, this document. I think, am I right in saying we did the it was the Korea shirts. Yeah, perfect. So last shirt we did was the South Korea shirts. Let's come on to Rayados, the Puma Special Patriotic Stripe shirt. That's a mouthful. Is this the one that's like designed like a Mexico shirt? Cool. So this is a fun concept. Whenever a club side adopts the look, the colour scheme of their nation, or the nation they're playing in. Very fun typeface there, which is cool. Honestly, the shirt, it's there's the novelty factor is there. I like having the colours of Mexico, but the design is a little bit half baked, I would say. I'm not sure, honestly. It's going to sound picky, but well, for a start, I don't like that neckline. It feels like a knockoff Nike 2018 neckline, which Puma, are better than that. And I'm not sure about this. The way the pattern is cut off there, and the shades of green. Honestly, I think this one is a kind of low candle tier. This is our third tier, the candle tier. So. There's some good shirts in this tier. It's certainly not all bad, but we're looking for more to get into the top two tiers. I wouldn't call this a hot shirt, but again, with the novelty factor of it being a Mexico shirt, Mexico colours for a club shirt in Mexico, there's something fun about that. So we'll stick that in the third tier once I resize it. Of course, guys, for anyone new, do jump in with any comments. Always love to hear your thoughts, what you agree or disagree with me about. Feel free to try and persuade me otherwise. So as I look at this, I think I'm settling for something around this area. There's a gap there just about. Not really, but there's very few spaces left in that area of the tier list. Belgium away. Now this is a big one. We've done a lot of the international Adidas and Nike shirts. You can see a bunch of them in the top, and a lot. Honestly, especially Adidas have been typically quite good. Nike a bit more mixed. This is a very interesting shirt. I mean, just the story of this one being a collaboration with Tomorrowland is a really unusual combo. But I say unusual, it has become more common, of course, in international football to have collaborations. For many years, federations would collaborate with designers and brands, but it tended to be a bit more in the background. Now we're seeing examples like this, where this is unashamedly Tomorrowland branded. Now, I must admit, it is quite nice. The shirt in and of itself. A very kind of fresh colorway, but I personally don't think it's actually a very good. To me, it's for a Belgium away shirt. I really don't think it's personally ticking that box. It's a fun collaboration, but I think, for example, something like the Denmark BLS Hafnia shirt, which was, again, a collaboration with a fashion brand. So Tomorrowland, a festival, but a collaboration with a third party, I should say. I think that one landed better because it was a bit more subtle and it felt more like a Denmark shirt, if I can put it like that. This one is a great, like, it's a bold, memorable shirt, but it feels a bit too kind of lifestyle, I think, you know, compared to, again, some of the other collaboration shirts we've seen. Now, it's still a nice shirt. I am being picky, as I always am. I think I'd even put it in the hot tier. So I did sound maybe a bit down on it. But I think, you know, it's not, for me, I wouldn't rank it anywhere near the Volcano tier. Yeah, to me, I don't know. Maybe it's a bit gimmicky. I do like the colorway. Again, it is fresh, but it feels, I guess, too much Tomorrowland, if I could put it like that. That's kind of how I'd sum it up. But I do ultimately think it should be in the hot tier. We'll stick it here, actually. So I do like it. You know, again, don't get me wrong. It's fascinating to see. I think Adidas's newest construction and template is looking pretty good. And Tyler's saying, good idea, looks like a Primo's top. Yeah, that exactly, Tyler. That's my thinking. That's kind of where I'm landing on this one. As nice as it is, I mean, they really have committed. You can see it even in the shorts, and so it's a real, like, and the home show obviously wasn't too quiet either. So it's a very bold collection from Belgium. Fair play for sticking their neck out. But we continue. And now with Algeria's kits, I must admit I haven't seen much about these at all. I don't even know if I've seen these before. Not loving this pattern. And this, what looks to be a sort of embossed detail, is nice. Or maybe it isn't embossed. It's just a slightly kind of two-tone green. Yeah, I don't think this pattern looks very good. Especially because of the sleeves there. It honestly just looks a bit yeah, I don't think it's a very nice look aesthetically. And even, again, sadly, these teams that fall outside of Adidas's top tier, as far as I can tell, or maybe this is the latest. I'm trying to look at and see if we've got, I mean, it's certainly aero ready, so it's not heat ready. Anyway, that's a side point. I don't think it's a very attractive shirt. So if I was to rank that, honestly, I mean, the other thing as well, and this is a classic thing, even though the detail is quite subtle, it feels very off balance there, because you've got, and I don't personally think the centralized Adidas logo and crest look particularly good either. I think I'm going to put it in the Ice Cube tier. So you know, despite I might be wrong. I think it is a bespoke pattern, or at least I don't remember another nation having it. But it feels like it could have come out of a catalogue. Yeah, very kind of wishy-washy, almost like it's kind of going to start forming a gradient, but yeah, not the one for me, honestly. And even, this is going to sound funny, but even the shaded green isn't really doing much for me. Of course, the colours of national teams are often quite sacred, but sometimes a good colour can lift even a dull shirt. I don't think this is one of those. So I'd put it on the higher end of the Ice Cube tier. I can barely see the line. That's how many shirts we've got here. Yeah, I'd stick it about here. But that's kind of where I'm landing on that one. And then on the away, I mean, it's the same deal. The gold Adidas logo, I must say, I think that I don't know, are these elements too spaced out? Is it too small? Something about this, I prefer this to the away, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. I'm left underwhelmed by both these shirts. I do prefer this one, and actually, when I see it like that, I think I would even nudge this into the camel tier, just not by much, but I think I think this is decidedly better. Like a lot of international shirts, we probably need to see it with the numbers as well to be kind of fully appreciated. There is that as well to consider, but yeah, I think this one, honestly, not the strongest combo. Adidas have been doing a lot of good stuff this year, but I think sadly for Algerian fans, you can kind of see that they've fallen into the kind of the second tier, certainly in terms of treatment compared to the top tier shirts. But nonetheless, a good shirt. It is a good shirt, this one, and I do actually think I could stick it about there. So I'd get the home if I had to choose between the two. Zamalek. So we're staying in Africa with the now an Egyptian Premier League team. A constellation shirt which commits fully to the theme, all the way on the back. What I assume is a detail celebrating, I'm going to guess 5 continental titles. I like that detail. Honestly, if you can buy into the look of it, I mean, it's very Cruzeiro, of course, which we had, and I quite liked that approach. This isn't much different to that, to be honest. I was maybe a bit too keen. I think in hindsight, that could come a bit further down in that tier. But yeah, honestly, I mean, there's a lot I like about this one. It is a bit of a gimmick, of course, but having the crest element there, I don't know the story, what the constellation is, some sort of archer, but clearly, it's got that symbolism carrying over. The manufacturer logo is pretty clunky, but overall, this is pretty good. I mean, again, the Cruzeiro one was similar, and I really like that one. I think this is almost as good as that. I'd probably mark it down slightly. I think, to me, this element here is maybe a little bit on the nose, but honestly, pretty fun kit from Zamalek. And for a manufacturer like this, I don't know anything about tempo. I don't know. It almost looks. I wonder. Let's have a quick look. Sometimes there's some info on football shirt culture. The site we're on. I can't see anything about tempo, but yeah. Often with brands like this, I'm left feeling underwhelmed. But in this case, I actually don't. I think there's some potential here. I don't mind this at all. Compared to, like, for example, there's a lot in Brazil. I think they're called Volt. We saw a lot of their shirts earlier in the year, and they just looked a little bit. Well, they looked quite cheap. I hate to say that, but with this shirt, even though it does still obviously not look as high end as some of the big brands, things like that backnet detail, honestly, really helps. So, a really fun shirt. I think, again, in hindsight, that Cruzeiro shirt could be bumped down a bit. I'm going to stick the Zamalek shirt about here, though. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Let's continue. Making good progress. Guys, I just want to say thank you for tuning in at this time. Going forward, I may experiment with doing a few more streams at this time, or maybe kind of 8:30, but if for any regular viewers out there, let me know if you have a preference, or if you prefer if the 8 o'clock time is better, or whatever. Obviously, again, with the football often on Tuesdays, it does conflict with that, of course. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Nonetheless, don't forget to subscribe if you're new. So we're over to Australia with the A-League and Perth Glory. Now, this is a very interesting design from Macron. Obviously, the colours of Perth Glory here are very notable. I must admit, this shirt, for me, it's a little bit too all over the place. Probably not helped by the sponsor application. Now, again, and this looks like a render, to be fair, but yeah, it's memorable, again, largely because of the colours. I don't think this pattern really works. The way it's kind of, I don't know, this kind of fragmented honeycomb thing, it's a bit too, there's a few too many layers to this one. But it's certainly got the impact factor. I do love that crest. That's wonderfully kind of old school there with the football. So yeah, even though it's a bit all over the place, It has a charm. It has a certain charm. I think this one deserves to go in the third tier. Kind of lower to mid candle is where I'm landing on that one. As I say, there's very few purple and orange shirts in football. I mean, just scanning through our list here, our tier list. I don't even know if we've had any that are purple and orange. We must have done. We must have had at least one. There's hundreds of shirts in it, but there we go. Pretty fun shirt from Macron and Perth Glory. Macron are great. Macron do put in a lot of effort into their teams. Football shirt connoisseur, good to see you, my friend. Hope you're well. I'll be in Denmark on Thursday, actually. Thinking of of yourself over there. I'll be in Aarhus on Thursday, which I'm looking forward to. That honestly, it's. I think this is a little bit over designed, a bit over. I think actually, to be honest, I should probably legend back a bit further than that. But yeah, certainly a memorable one from Perth Glory. Let's have a look at their away shirt. Oh no, this is the home, so that was the away. Okay, I'm not sure. Maybe, sorry, I don't know which is which. I think this is the away. Now in this example, I think I like this a bit more. It's even though the colours are much more reduced, obviously, with largely being a white shirt with a little bit of purple, the pattern feels a little bit more kind of considered for me. I think it works better. I'd like it to be on the back. Interesting to see the little that's a very kind of cheap, a bit tacky looking skyline there, and the amount of colours in the sponsor. Wow, you got like every primary colour and a few extras thrown in. So it's to be honest, yeah, even though I like the shirt more, I wouldn't put it much higher. It's another low kind of candle, but you know, there's enough for it to be in this tier compared to the bottom tier, for me anyway, guys. So yeah, not about, like, for comparison's sake, I'd take these shirts over the Algeria shirts, for example. I think this as a tandem is a bit stronger than that, but it's still not, you know, we're not challenging the Volcano or the Flames to our top two tiers. But nonetheless, that is Perth Glory. Let's find a spot for them. Again, it is becoming increasingly hard to do this week on week. We'll go there. Yeah, I think I haven't counted, and I'm far beyond counting now, but I'm pretty sure this is our busiest tier here. Oh dear. Let us continue. We're staying in Australia. Good stuff. A bit of an Aussie theme. Western Sydney Wanderers. Now these guys have had some good kits over the years. Let's have a look. I quite like the colour scheme. Very Dennis the Menace. Which is very much their thing, of course. The style of the kind of distressed, slightly kind of painty, distressed hoops isn't a personal favourite, but I do appreciate the continuation on the sleeves, and I wonder if it's on the back. I would hazard a guess and say it was. I think it looks like it is, or maybe that's just the sleeves, but it's honestly a pretty solid kit from Kappa. Yeah, again, I'm not the biggest fan of that style, but it's hard when you're a striped team or a hooped team. It's one of the hardest gigs, I think, in football to design a new striped kit every year, or hooped kit every year. Finding ways to make that fresh whilst not completely compromising the aesthetic. I think this one just about straddles the line correctly. Yeah, so I'm happy to put this one probably in the middle of the candle tier. I'd put it a bit above the Perth shirts, for example. I think these guys have had better shirts in the past, and I think I want to say they were with Nike for a while, and I actually quite liked, despite the simplicity of their shirts with Nike. I have one in my head. I'm picturing one which I quite liked. I can't remember what year it was, but nonetheless, pretty good as a whole from Kappa. And again, let's stick them there. That is Western Sydney Wanderers. Now we come to Hungary. Now, often Hungary shirts are pretty underwhelming, it must be said. And looking at this shirt, yeah, I mean, this sadly is a bit underwhelming. Now, despite its ultra simplicity, I've got a little bit of detail there, but it's not my favourite kind of style. Yeah, there's very little to talk about with this one, I think. And again, it's that same problem with Algeria, where outside of the top tier Adidas nations, sadly, it's a kind of reminder of where Adidas have been in a lot of ways for several years now. Many of their shirts look like they could have come out any time in the last sort of 10 years. Now that has progressed again with the top tier nations. We've seen a lot more development, and that's exciting, not only in things like colours and patterns, but the actual shirt construction has moved on. This, not so much. I think I don't even think I can put it above the bottom tier. Again, like Algeria, I would put it on the higher end of this tier because there's not, I think, a lot fundamentally wrong with it. It's just very underwhelming. You know, even this detail here with the gold, it's kind of a little touch that helps. And honestly, I think a bit of that on the cuffs would be a small way to take it on to the next level. That is a Hungary shirt. Tyler, did I say something else? I apologise if I did. Joe, thanks for stopping by and saying hi, mate. Appreciate that. Hope you're doing well, mate. Yeah. So that's Hungary. We move on now. Well, we jump back. Oh, I like this shirt. We'll come on to the Odense shirt. Adelaide United. Now, this guy's very on trend. We have seen a lot of off-white shirts. I mean, I joked about it the other day on Twitter. It's kind of the colour of the year, or certainly becoming very popular, or has become popular this year. I think for good reason. I think, you know, typically it looks quite sharp. We see this here with the black secondary colour. I'm liking what I see. I really am. And this is from, what's the brand here? UCAN. Is it UCAN? Created in-house in collaboration with UCAN. I feel like, are they a Chinese brand, I want to say, or maybe they just work with Chinese teams. Anyway, regardless, good to see in these shots what looks like an embossed pattern, and that's lovely. That, honestly, even though the pattern itself is kind of a bit, you know, I'm not loving the kind of year details there, but that adds so much to a shirt. Like, that almost by itself makes you think it was already probably on the doorstep of the hot tier. I think this solidifies it, seeing that pattern, even though in that retail shot that colour does really not look very nice in these photo shoot shots. Yeah, you get a real good sense of that colour, unless they've just photoshopped it loads, but it looks good. Yeah, to be fair, in some of the other shots it looks a bit less creamy, but anyway, looks great. Nice simple collar. The embroidery crest is a bit, you know, we've seen much nicer plastic applications, but this has got hot tier written all over it. Again, this is a terrible retail picture. Oh, sorry Tyler, I get you saying, and I'm just saying how every Hungary shirt looks the same. Indeed. Sadly, they are just, and the thing is, guys, especially with international teams, yes, sometimes the big manufacturers, of course, are letting nations down with a lack of kind of bespoke treatment, but often it is just very conservative or nations that just play it very safe, and you see it a lot on the international scene. International federations tend to be a lot of them tend to be quite slow in actually experimenting at all. I think that's why England for so many years was so boring, basically. Although now they're kind of opening up the playbook a bit. Obviously that's been met with mixed results, but anyway. Yeah, this is really good from Adelaide. Again, that shot does not look nice, but then when you look at it here, that to me is ticking a lot of boxes. In fact, I think that's a high flames tier. I really think this is, we're talking like, so it reminds me a lot of the Borkum away. To be fair, it's probably not as good as that. When I think that actually could even be higher, but I don't think we're far behind. Let's stick it with Sweden and Roma here. Good stuff. The best one we've seen so far from today, I would say. But it's only going to get better, guys, because we have the Odense away shirt, and this is a really strong design. Now, it's a shame the pattern, it kind of almost continues on the back. It doesn't quite. But really like the style of this one. I believe this was I can't think of the guy's name now. I believe a fan who was also a kind of a concept designer got involved with this one, and I think you can tell there's been a bit of love there. Not that you don't see that from Hummel, but it honestly looks great. A kind of barber pole, a blue barber pole look. It looks really good. The sponsor does kind of get in the way, but of all the application, or all the ways you could fold it into the design, that's not the worst one. I'd probably like to see these in the stripes on the sleeves, maybe, but all in all, I think this is another shoe-in for the hot tier, and I think even higher. It's not far from the Volcano tier. Yeah, I really like it. This kind of colour combo as well, not one you see a lot. Obviously black is a typical base colour, but with the blue and the white, it looks really nice. Yeah, and these guys, I mean, you can see their home shirt there. So this one I'd probably put even higher, and I think it's like, again, not far from the Volcano tier. I'm not quite feeling it for the Volcano tier, but that's not to say it isn't a good shirt. If we just resize this, there we go. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, when I look at this, I think we could easily put it around here. A great shirt from Hummel, and again with the home Odense have a really nice tandem there. Yeah, very nice indeed. People shirt connoisseurs say many Danes like that shirt. Yeah, I think it's great. I can't think. I should have checked the guy's name. I'm sure there was basically I think he was called Kits by Samu. That rings a bell. It looks good. To be honest, yeah. The more I look at it, I think I'd almost be tempted to bump it up to a tier. Really strong. And Tyler said, I like how the barber pole design continues in the back, but in black. Yeah, so that, I think, even though it isn't in colour, it's a nice, like, you can tell clearly they've thought about that, and it is significantly better than a plain back. To be honest, guys, I'm going to bump it up into the Volcano tier. When I think about, like, when I'm looking at these shirts here, do I like it more than the Stoke shirt and the City shirt? Yeah, I mean, the City shirt could probably come down, but anyway, let's sneak in. I'm convinced. Seeing more photos of that one, yeah, really good from Odense. Kind of coming back down to earth with these Slovenia shirts. Now, I believe these were from voted by in a contest. I seem to remember there was a vote. I mean, these are fine, but Slovenia have such high standards. Like their shirts for quite a while were some of my favourites, and I have a lot of love for Slovenia. I spent a lot of my honeymoon in Slovenia, so I kind of have a bit of a love for the nation through that, and their shirts, of course. But with these two, I mean, I think I like the white one slightly more. The blue, again, one of the things which I think really hurts this one, Slovenia used to have that slightly lighter shade that they would implement, and then they'd also use the green quite well. These are just, again, I think they're hurt by how good Slovenia shirts used to be. Now, I think the pattern, the way it breaks up for the numbers, I get it, I understand, but it's hard to get too excited about these ones. I would put the white one, I think, in the third tier, in the Canal tier. But the blue one is more like a kind of probably high ice cube. This version of the Vaping It template, where you've got the contrasting Vaping It pattern on the sleeves, also just isn't typically a very good look, I would say, compared to when it's a bit more consistent or with the base colour. So yeah, this one, low end of the lower end of the canvasser and the away in the ice cube tape. Good intel here for Wish I Could Say It. Udence's nickname is The Striped, which is quite fitting. That is very fitting indeed. Yeah, no, really nice shirts. And I really like the home as well. Seeing that one in person, it impressed me more than I was expecting. Like the nice shade of red they had for the details for the Hummel logo and the sponsor. It's a really nice vibrant shade. Honestly guys, I'm more and more convinced that good colour choices are just a fundamental aspect which can, for me, is almost more important than if a shirt has a pattern or what have you. If you've got good colours, a good base colour, even it can change everything. So yeah, this is the away. We'll stick it here. It's fine. But sadly, Serena have just been, well, they're not what they used to be. Sadly. Let's continue making good progress. We'll be here for another 20 minutes, half an hour. We'll try and get through a few more pages. Athens. Kalitea. These are the guys who are working with the studio who work with Venezia, aren't they? I think that's the story. And the imagery is very Venezia in terms of the style. Very smart shirt, it must be said, with the gold. And I really like that the stripe is unbroken. I think that makes a big difference. The crest there, pretty striking looking crest. Very smart shirt, and in the style of Venezia, it has that, feels like a fashion angle, but I think pound for pound, this is just a really nice shirt. I think, we talked about colours just now. Seeing that kind of navy shade with the golds, this one, yeah, it ticks a lot of boxes. And again, having that stripe like that, I don't know if this will have a sponsor, but it obviously works very nicely unsponsored. Yeah, this is definitely in the hot tier. I think, I can't get too excited about it. I do think, whilst it does have a real appeal to it, and it's a very kind of wearable shirt, I don't know. I don't get as excited about this one as I do some of the shirts at the very top of the list. But when I look at it here, I think it does deserve to be. Well, let's stick it here next to City. That feels about right. Yeah, and I must admit, never heard of this team before. So yeah, clearly they're really kind of, again, it's the same studio, is it? Yeah, Bureau, Bosch, yeah, who I believe they're behind Venezia. Certainly there's a link. I can't remember the exact link, but there's something there. Yeah, so Football Show Concert, it should give you Venezia vibes deliberately. Now the home kit, I like this even more, I must say. We've seen a lot of collars, but this is a really nicely executed shirt. Obviously, again, the Venezia vibes are strong. And even though I kind of often rail against one button collars, but I must admit it looks good here. Probably, it's that shade of blue. That's a really nice shade of navy, which kind of, for me, it would be very easy for that to look a lot more drab. But I think, again, lovely deep base. It allows the gold to really kind of pop. Had they gone for a more kind of true blue, I think it would still look nice. But this one obviously has a much classier vibe about it because of that. In another year with fewer collars kind of doing the rounds, this might look even better. Like it almost is a bit too passe, because we've seen especially Adidas have done so many collared shirts. But no, I like this even more than the away. I don't think I can. Again, I don't know what it is exactly, but I can't bring myself to put it in the top tier. But we'll stick it there. I mean, it's a great combo. And again, obviously, the Venezia style imagery helping it with what looks like. I'm not an expert here, but it looks like a kind of film camera. It's a grainy camera anyway, which does look good. Yeah, that's a great comparison from which I can say. Talking about Acacia, exactly the same sort of vibe. In fact, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because there it is, almost exactly the same place. Yeah, exactly. I think, that combo, again, because we see so many black and gold shirts, it's quite nice basically having something that's not just black and gold, because that could easily be a black and gold combo, but having it in the navy just looks 10 times better. Very interesting design here from Under Armour. Now, we don't see a lot of Under Armour shirts these days. I'm really intrigued by this pattern. You've got everything from chevrons to diamonds to kind of overlocking or kind of overlapping, I don't even know, well, all sorts of shapes basically. I quite like it, to be honest, and I quite like the overall look. Now the back is quite plain, and that's a horrible back sponsor. That is just about the worst. It completely clashes. It's huge, so that doesn't let it down. But I must say, I think that front pattern is actually pretty interesting. It's a bit mad, but yeah, I kind of dig it. And even the sponsor, there again, it's quite large. It looks it's incorporated well, being an outline style there. The rest of the shirt, or kind of the construction of the shirt, looks a little bit basic, and I'd expect a bit more from Under Armour. I must say, you'd expect them to bring a bit more in terms of something a bit interesting from a tech perspective. But I have to say, looking at this one, especially in that shot with the colour there, obviously a bit of editing, but I think this is in the hot tier. That's just a really interesting pattern, and I'm kind of, to be honest, the more I look at it, I quite like it. It's kind of caught me off guard. And I enjoy patterns like this, which have they're almost subliminal. Like you can't obviously see it, but from a distance, it just looks like a bit of texture maybe. But then it's a really honestly, I'm really glad to see Under Armour doing some good stuff, because they haven't been in the game much at all, and brand diversity is a good thing. I'd hope to see them go from strength to strength. This makes you think, okay, in a similar story to Mizuno have been even more off the radar outside of a few places like Japan and Brazil. But I really like, honestly, I think this is kind of, I'm happy to put it about here. From Sydney FC, pretty strong stuff. Football Concern saying that was sponsored by City. Tyler, completely agree, saying wish it carried on the arms, on the arms as well. But we like the kit. Yeah, I really like this. And let's look at the away. Now I must say, guys, and this is something which I often say about people like Macron. What's really funny, so that Tyler, your wish has been granted in the away. Pattern on the sleeves, which does look good. I don't like the collar and the neckline as much, but I have to say, I really like that pattern. It's almost like a tie. I don't even know how to describe it. It's very surprising to me, and that's, again, when you see so many shirts, I really like this direction. I don't like the neckline as much, and of course that sponsor is horrendous, but I think this one, what's funny is, even though I like the pattern going on sleeves, I'm probably going to mark it slightly down, largely because of the neckline compared to the home, but I still think this is in the hot tier, and I'm really pleasantly surprised by these two kits. This is the kind of example of, again, a brand like Under Armour, who are clearly, I think, well, we talked about effort, putting their best foot forward, putting some effort in here. I think, if anything, on this basis, they've nailed it. So the home's there. I don't think the away is much further down. I think something like that feels about right. Really good combo. That's impressed me a lot. Pass on the seats, exactly, Tyler. I didn't know that was coming, but spot on, and looks good. That's just to be honest, that's the kind of shirt, guys. Someone will pick it up and they'll get it patched up with a name on the back, and people go, "Wow, that looks really nice." I really think that is a kind of a bit of a hidden gem. I need to record some more YouTube shorts actually, and I'll have to do one on this because that's really impressed me. Now, we're not going to do pre-match shirts on this list. We're sticking to just match shirts, and we're also not doing goalkeeper shirts. So I'll briefly touch on these. I think in general, obviously, with pre-match shirts, you're getting some really, typically a much more kind of out there look, and especially with Portugal here. What's good is you see the theme a lot more clearly, which is the nautical theme. Others a little bit more kind of middling. To be honest, as a collection, there's a lot which I wouldn't even bother about too much. But there are some gems there. Right. Let's come to Tunisia. This one from Kappa. Honestly, in a similar story to Slovenia. Yeah, Tyler, exactly. If you combine the two shirts, you got the winner. Exactly. I think if you combine that, honestly, I think we might be looking at the Volcano too, with the Sydney ones. Yeah, I think this is in the same vein as Slovenia, where they had such a strong history. Tunisia, again, with Kappa, have had some stunning shirts. This one, honestly, is I think the worst one by a long way. Compared to some of those eagle designs, not feeling this one at all. Both home and away. I think, am I right in saying the home's usually the white kit? Yeah, I mean, maybe it's the colour. On the render here, I like this shade a bit more than this shade, but regardless, I think, honestly, I don't like the look of that pattern. It feels like it's one thing to have, almost like a kind of Mexico '98 vibe, I guess, about it. But it's the kind of detail, the style of it looks a bit clip art. I hate to say it, but I think when we're talking about the standard that we have, and like something like this Pacific FC shirt, which is much more, much crisper, or something like the Belgrano shirts, this looks, honestly, and again, this is going to sound harsh, but like a bit of a stock pattern. Yeah, it's lacking quality. I think I'm going to have to put these both in the ice cube tier. I'm quite disappointed by these. And again, this is a bespoke pattern, and a lot of people think, well, that means something, but I don't. I think if the pattern isn't good, I don't think it being bespoke actually means too much. So higher end of the bottom tier. I think it feels about right there. We don't want to be too harsh, but on both shirts, feeling quite underwhelmed, I must say. Yeah, even just and again, this is a tricky thing to get. I think the level of opacity, it's often a subjective thing. I can understand why it's a bit subtle, and obviously, again, if it was stronger, I might like it even less, but I'm not too fussed about this one, guys, or these two, I should say. Probably would put this one, I don't know, it's much of a muchness between the home and away. I guess I'd take this white one here over the red one, so we'll stick this one slightly higher. We've not got much room in this tier, to be fair, so let's just go there. Yeah, underwhelming. But Bradford, on the other hand, now I thought, did we rank this one before, or did we talk about? I have a feeling. Oh no, maybe no. I don't think we did. But I've definitely seen this. Maybe it was just on Twitter that I saw this. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I can't see it in the higher tiers, and I think this is going to be in the higher tiers because this is absolutely brilliant from Macron. This is Macron at their best. Everything here, from the colours to the pattern to the fact the pattern goes all the way on the back. To be honest, I just have to tell you, this is a Volcano t-shirt. I love this design. Obviously, Bradford have a good colour scheme, or certainly a memorable colour scheme, with the kind of, I don't know what they call it, but the maroon and gold. For the home kits, I really like how that's been combined with this deep navy shade, and the way that pattern just shines off the base, and it's all the way on the back. Yeah, this is a really good shirt. This is Macron at their best. I mean, again, really, really good cuffs. Just a little flash of the home colours, and I quite like the one colour crest, honestly, with the sponsor and the Macron logos. This is just excellent. And it's not the first time we've seen a Macron shirt in the higher tiers. Obviously, we've got the Stoke shirt there, and I think this one's even better. Really impressed, and I have to say, Macron, they have a big portfolio with many teams, of course, around the world. I don't think they've made many better shirts than this this season, and it's great to see. Like, with all due respect to Bradford, they're not a big team compared to many teams on this list, but their shirt is as good as anyone's in the world, any club in the world, or country for that matter. I'm really, really impressed with this one. I think it deserves not just, for me, I think we're talking, I'd even take it over the Norwich shirt, which is obviously great as well. Fantastic. Just straight up, one of my favourite shirts this season. From Bradford. Fair play. Tyler saying super clean, really nice. Yeah, I think there's so many things which I complain about, like when passes aren't on the back, when you have and again the collar, even though it's not to my personal style, I think it matches the aesthetic of the shirt really well. Sponsors incorporated well. There's even a little detail on the back neck. Yeah, just great work. Now this is the other end of the spectrum. Good old Napoli. I mean, the thing is, last year's Halloween shirt kind of had something about it, but I talked about clip art patterns previously. This one looks so budget to me. I think it looks naff. It just, the pattern just looks bad. And I think last year's spiderweb shirt ultimately just wasn't a nicer looking shirt, even if it was a bit, as cheesy. I think this is terrible. I mean, it's in the bottom tier, guys. Now, it's not as bad as the Maradona shirt. I mean, it's funny, we've got the flames of the Maradona shirt there. We included those because this is every shirt released this calendar year, and Napoli released so many shirts that a few of their shirts from last season snuck into this tier list. But no, I think this is just bad. Again, I think the whole idea of a Halloween shirt, honestly, it's hard to stomach. But then to do something that looks as budget as this, I do not understand. Armani should be bringing out at the very least some high-end looking shirts. You would have thought. That's just a terrible shirt down there. The Napoli team look amazing this year, but not in those shirts. Jumping back to a shirt which is good, which was the Bradford. Tyler said, reminds you of Spain 2010. Yeah, it definitely has that vibe. Yeah, that's a good comparison. Football Show says, how do Macron shirts fit? Typically, I would go either a size or half a size up. It's often what I'd typically call it European fit. I don't know how that would compare to Denmark, actually. But yeah, I would definitely, honestly, I think that's a sneakily good shirt. I think we'll leave it there, guys. If I just I'm going to have a quick scan through. Let's do Corinthians. I promise we do Corinthians. And there's a few shirts we haven't done, but we'll catch up next week. We're almost caught up. But let's finish with Corinthians. Talk about that bit and rank it. Before we do, I will mention. Respond to Tyler there saying Napoli might be the biggest fall from grace. Yeah, I mean, a lot can be said about Napoli. Clearly, this experiment, well, I think it's fair to assume it went well for them last year in terms of sales. Looks like they're doing it all again. There we go. Ultimately, for me, so few of their shirts over the last couple of years, or certainly last year, were just good shirts in and of themselves. So very disappointing. Now, I tweeted about this Corinthians shirt, and I said how much I like high concept designs. And by that I mean when you've got a theme or a story and you just absolutely run with it. And I think this is, of course, there's nothing shy about this shirt with the Japanese typography. I believe it says something along the lines of "We are Corinthians." Here is Corinthians. Very much in the off-white colour scheme, so much so that even the Japanese flag is in an off-white shade, which is quite surprising, to be honest. Although there you go, it actually looks white there, so I think there might just be some editing issues there. Yeah, it would make more sense that they would keep it in the correct colours. But anyway, I do think people are getting a bit carried away, because again, I really like doing this kind of thing where you run with a theme, and the third shirt is the place to do it. It's the place to go for it. And of course, Corinthians have a bit of history, especially with the Senna shirt, which I liked much more than this. I think the one other thing which I don't like as much, I've mentioned this a lot with the Nike shirts, the version of this template where they have what has been kind of dubbed in the community the bat wings, when they have that on the front as well, it's vastly superior, I would say. And I think if we had that, I would like the shirt a lot more. So this version isn't as exciting. You can see it in the Dry for ADV. It looks nice, although the Corinthians crest could be much more raised and more interesting, but that's, being picky. So I think all this is to say, I think this is certainly one of the most interesting shirts in terms of the aesthetic, but I really don't think, like, when I look at this tier list, I think there are 20 shirts better than it. Or there's certainly 20 shirts I would choose over it. I think, I've seen some people say it's shirt of the year. I don't think we're anywhere near that territory. I think despite, again, the kind of high concept thing which I like, I don't think it's necessarily that nice a pattern. Although it is all over, and again, the off-white colour is very popular for a good reason. But anyway, that's my take. In short, I think people are getting a bit carried away with it. But what do you think? Let me know. Do let me know in the comments below if you're watching this on catching up on it. Again, I try to respond to comments on YouTube as well, so do jump into the comments if you're doing that. But yeah, all in all, Corinthians shirts are typically very good value, and this is certainly, again, a memorable design. I think I would still put this around here, but yeah, see, even I don't know. When I look at here, I think we're actually going to slide this down. So it's going to be in the hot tier, but something around here feels about right. That's my take. Again, I really like this. I mean, there must be at least 100 shirts there, probably ahead of it. So maybe a controversial take. I don't know, but there we go. That is the Corinthians shirt. I mean, well, as if on cue for Check on a saying, I think it's pretty meh. Wouldn't even consider it in top 100. I mean, basically that's where I've landed. I didn't even see a comment there, but we are on the same page. There we go, guys. That's the hot wall. We got through a lot of shirts. We had some great shirts. I mean, the likes of Bradford and Odense are there, smashing their way into the volcano tier. Bit of everything today, but yeah, certainly, like, again, we've gone from, well, one extreme, the quality of Bradford, to I would say, the tackiness and the lack of quality from Napoli. Junior saying, I think a majority of our kit with like a salmon-y coloured tints would look nice, like a koi fish, like a lol fish. Love that. Yeah, that's an interesting combo. Not a combo you see a lot, actually. We've seen a few, like, I mean, the Werder Bremen shirt there, and there's a few like kind of peachy, salmon-y kits, but there's not been many, and that'll be, to be honest, I could see that maybe even landing better, certainly, while still having that kind of, overtly Japanese theme. Yeah. I like your thinking, Junior. That'll do it for the Hot Wall, guys. Thank you for tuning in on this slightly later episode than usual, but it's been fun to hang out. Any final questions, stick them into the chat as we finish. But yeah, I've enjoyed this as always. No stream on Thursday. I'll be away. Well, I'm hoping to do something fun on Twitter, so keep an eye on Hummel's Twitter on Thursday. I'll just say that. No promises, but yeah, there should be some fun stuff going on. Some behind the scenes stuff on behind the chevrons. Behind the chevrons, behind the scenes. You need to think of a more succinct way of saying that. But anyway, nonetheless, guys, thank you for hanging out. As always, don't forget to subscribe on your way out if you haven't already, and to leave a like if you enjoyed this stream. I'm hoping if I can. I'm rushing to get the what I'm buying video for August and September live tomorrow. So I'm going to do my best to get that out before I have to go down to the airport. But we'll see how we go. It depends how busy my day is, basically. But we'll see. But thank you for all your connoisseur. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for your comments. See you soon, mate. And yeah, as I say, guys, always a pleasure to hang out with this little bunch we have here. But it's good. Yeah, always good to hang out. Tyler, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for hanging out and chatting. I've really enjoyed your contribution. So thank you. Hope to see you at a future stream. Yeah. If you want to keep up to date with that, I usually post here on YouTube or on Twitter, which is just my name, Phil Delves. Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you. Appreciate that very much, mate. Guys, I'll leave you with our outro scene. You can listen to some of this background music a bit more clearly that's been playing. But thank you for hanging out. I'll see you next week. Again, no stream on Thursday, so I'll be stream next Tuesday. But take care. Until then, have a good rest of your week. And I'll see you on the other side.